How family structure shapes freedom in society. Yeah, I'm redoing this one. The first one, the PowerPoint dropped off. Why strong families strengthen nations. Basically, the background behind this topic, I believe that there is an attack on families, strong families, mother and father in the home with the children, all living in one single home, building that, which leads to building of a nuclear family. Government and wealthy people do not want this. Again, the basis behind this is the destruction of the family and government and wealthy people not wanting this, and the reason whys. I'll go into details of this, and but yeah, this is basically the basics. Because one big thing you should know is the first school for a person is within a home. Before a person interacts with government or a boss, they interact with their family. It is within a home that individuals first learn responsibility, caring for siblings, or contributing to a household chores. They also learn conflict resolution, learning to disagree without resorting to outside authorities or violence. Understanding that personal desires must sometimes be balanced with the need of the group. A resilient society is one where individuals are intermittently vulnerable to every economic or personal setback. When a family member loses a job or falls ill, the family is the first responded. That's why that if you're with a strong family, reducing the state, reducing the need of the state. Basically, what that needs is good families reduce the need for government to be involved. When families are strong enough to care for their own, there's a less demand for the state to expand its reach into private life. This keeps government smaller, individual freer. As you see right now, we have a big and growing government. And that's a problem. And as you can see, as our government grows bigger, our society has more problems, and it's more problems in the family. So there's a connection there. And also to go back to something that I also talked about, responsibility and conflict resolution. As you watch in the videos and you see as you go out through society that exists, that is not taught. Okay. While laws can be dictated that people must do, must what while laws can dictate what people must do, families dictate what people want to do. Okay, so the laws say you have to do this, but the family say, well, we want to do this, such as something like grandma watching the children. That's just something that because grandma wants to do that. The difference would be a law saying that a father or a mother has to pay child support. That's something that you must do. That's why it's better to go through a family, because it's not like a consequence if you not do it. You don't need to pass a law for that. And a family and culture is a big thing. Families pass down the specific traditions, religious beliefs, and work ethic that gives a society its unique characters. Okay, and moral foundation. A society cannot have enough police officers or laws. You see this right now. A lot of people, you see, they try to go to families and they blame things that are happening in our society on law enforcement, the criminal and enforcement department, that they are the problems. They're not doing enough. The school system is not doing enough. The city's not doing enough to keep it safe. But at the end of the day, it comes down to people's home life. Um, and that's just something that needs to be looked at. You should not be looking to the government to solve your issues for you. And you should not be looking for government to be the solution to the problems. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in this. So the basically on this, on the core idea is, just think of a building. In the building, the family would be, each individual family would be a brick in a structure, in a structure in society. And if each brick is strong, then you have a strong structure, you got a strong society. But if each brick is weak and crumbling, or most of them are, the structure will crumble. So society is crumbling, and our society is failing right now because of that. Okay. Okay. This is why we need stable families. When a family unit is stable, it acts as a private engine for success. This stability creates a launch pad effect across three key areas. Emotional. Okay. A consistent home life fosters high self-esteem and resilience in children, reducing the likelihood of behavior issue. This also affects adults. A man that is taking care of his children has high self-esteem, because it doesn't matter what he does, where he lives. At the end of the day, when he comes home or the middle of the night, he's walking around his house. He sees the children are asleep. The air condition is blowing, which means he's paying the bills. There's no eviction notice. The children have clothes. It makes him feel better because he provides all that, which is his purpose. So emotionally, that not only builds in the children and living they're in a safe place, it builds a good emotion in the parents. Financially, when you got a good home, shared, you have two adults, they're sharing resources. Households often benefit from economies of scale, leading to higher ownership rates and education investment. That does not mean both parents are working. It means there's equal contributing by both parents, and not that 50-50 crap. It could be where a man is working or a woman is working one job, vice versa, and the other person is taking the home. And you might say, well, the other person's not doing nothing. Oh, yes, they are. The person that's got to go to work, that the person that's not working is making sure that that person is work to get out on time and be the work. Make sure there are no issues. That keep that person from oversleeping, and on task. You see it a lot in movies where the man's going to work and like, oh man, my suit. Oh, I already took care of your suit. Your suit's pressed out. It's there at the table. So, oh, thank you, honey. And this helped out. There's breakfast on the table. He's eating breakfast. He's out the door. Even sometimes he can't eat the breakfast. He has the coffee. He's out the door. And that's the answer. What the wife was, that the housewife was always looked down upon, but she was more of a manager. She made sure he got to work. She managed the family. She managed the kids. If there was a problem, she went to the school. She handled it. Or she knew everything that was going on. If one of her children were acting unusual, she was around them so much that she knew something was wrong and didn't need nobody to tell her because she knew something was wrong. And I kind of went through all this, and oh yeah, I kind of beat that to death. But and that pushes on to the community. Because if one of the children are doing wrong, or even one of the adults, they have an issue, the community can come together and solve that problem, and not police. Okay. When a home is unstable, or fractured, the consequences often ripple. It has like a ripple effect outside the home into society. Because just like I was talking about earlier, if you have the opposite, let's just talk about children. A child at school may misbehave. One, because when they first get to school, they're already stressed out from what went on in the home, and the teacher's trying to push the child mentally, but mentally they're already messed up, so they don't want to be bothered. But they're children, so they might lash out in a different way. That also comes with bullying other people. They feel bad about themselves, and what they found was making them feel good is beating on somebody else. You find that in adults too. Men beating on women even beating on men. Is because truthfully, when you look at the core of it, they don't like themselves. If you trace it back long enough, you would find that it connects back to their upbringing in the home, or just their home life. Even an adult going to work in the morning, if they're having trouble at home, it can reflect on their job to where they can't focus properly, they can't take the stress, and they can snap at work. And this can result in stress. Well, it does result in stress, but also create anxiety and create mental hangups. So where a person often, if somebody yells their voice, they put their head down, or they shy, or they just avoid it because they just can't take it. You see that a lot in relationships. Even when you meet different people, I know women that I've met, when there's issues and we try to resolve it, they often, no, they just run away from, like, no, we're going to sit and talk about this, but they don't want to. To this day, they still don't want to talk about it. They just don't want to deal with stress because it's something that goes back to their childhood and stressful matters. When they tried to resolve it, it resulted possibly in a beating, or they just don't want to talk about it. They just run. They run from their problems. And yeah, and it creates a mental thing that creates a behavior in school, where a lot of kids, they do like coming to school, but they're just it's not really there to learn. It's just like a sanctuary for them because their home life is bad. And also, fractured families usually have financial problems, especially if it's not a two-parent home. If it's a single-parent home, you have one parent that has to work to pay the bills, but then they also have the cost of time spending with the children, the cost of time taking care of the home, just managing the home itself, can be very stressful on one parent. This will cause that parent to lash out, but it also can be self-destructive for that person. That leads to drinking, that leads to drug abuse, it leads to self-harm in such a way where people cut themselves, or bulimia. It also can result in low self-esteem as well. Often homes that are unstable create the cycle of poverty, where the next generation will be in poverty, the generation after that will be poverty, because they're constantly in crisis mode, so they're not taking the time to think about, how did I get in this situation? How can I be better? How can I learn? Because they're jumping from crisis to crisis to crisis. So that's the cycle of poverty. And usually education is very lacking in this home. Some instance, education is so-called education is there, like a person can have a degree, but they really didn't learn. They just got a degree. They didn't understand how to apply what they learned. They just memorized it to get the degree, but they don't know how to really apply what they learned. Such as a person that has a degree in finances and financing, but they're constantly in debt. To have a master's in finance and you can't do a budget or stick to it, that's application of what you know. And usually that's found in unstable home. And that spreads out into society. Unstable parents can act unstable out in public. Unstable parents raise unstable children that act out in public. Unstable parents raise unstable children who have unstable children, and that affects society because the instability acts out in public. The lack of responsibility is shown in public. That the process of conflict resolution is displayed in public. And I'm just gonna beat on this last thing, and that's why you see a lot of kids in broken homes end up in gangs. In the state of women, they end up with an abusive guy. Okay. Cycle of dependency. All right. Stable families function as mini economies and private social safety nets for it. Families that are not stable fall into the cycle of dependency. There's a lot of trauma, limited economic and social mobility, dependence on the government, dependence on alcohol, dependence on drugs, dependence on other people. A woman is married to or in a relationship with an abuser, but she stays with them because she's dependent. She doesn't know what else to do, which leads to instability, which is the cycle: instability, trauma, limited mobility, dependency. A lot of people are stuck in the dependency because they're financially unstable, so they're dependent on the government. and the government is a permanent fixture in their life. There are people that have tried to change that, but some people want that. This kind of goes back in the beginning why I said that the government does not want strong families, because they want people dependent on the government. So you'll vote Democrat. Republicans are no different, but the Democratic Party, they are for that. They will tell you are a victim. There's no way out. You can't do it. Nope. Stay dependent on the government so they can keep their job and they can continue to make their money. They don't want you free. Most of the time, people with strong families are freer people. Because you need to think of a strong family as a child's first. As I said earlier, think of a strong family as a child's first and most important school. It's where we learn survival skills for life, like how to work hard, bounce back from mistakes, and take care of ourselves. Children learn that from watching their parents. If you have children, you'll see that your children are watching everything that you do. Also, it's a place where parents and relatives pass down simple values and practical lessons. Most of the things that happen in this world have happened before and happened again. They just reworded. You have the heroin epidemic, we have the crack epidemic, now we got the oxycodone epidemic, and now we have the fentanyl epidemic. It's the same stuff. At Breakdown Financial, it is dependency. As Stephen A. Smith said, you cannot get addicted to something that you never tried, and that's something that strong families will push down on their children. I know you're stressed, you know this. I know the doctor prescribed that medication, but what really is that? Let's look that up. And we're lucky in today's society because you actually can look up what that is. Oh, that drug is a derivative of opium. We will not be taking that. Or at least a parent can tell their child not to take it, and they can still fall for that. And just to backtrack, a strong family does not mean a wealthy family, because you have wealthy families that are also broken as well. Some of the most broken families are the families with the most money. And in cases, even if that was to happen, such as drug dependence, strong families can come together, get the person in recovery, and lead them on a better path. And the freest is being free of the government. No one wants to be attached to the government. You don't want to have to depend on the government for life. That is a very dangerous thing. So just looking at the pyramid here, how I got it: strong families, strong community, strong nations. Okay. So basically, when families are stable, their positive influence naturally ripples outward, transforming a collection of houses into a true community. And that's a ripple effect. Is how individual households build the foundation for a strong nation. The neighborhood ripple effect, safer environments, create safer environments. Okay, so stable families are more likely to look out for one another. When parents are present and engaged, neighborhoods experience more eyes on the street, which are naturally discourage crime and creates a safer place for everyone. When people know their neighborhood, they know the people in the neighborhood, they see when somebody's not there. It could be a person just passing through, but they'll know, hey, who's that guy? That's not that person. They don't live there. There's a situation going on there. We need to check this out. Okay. And it's not being a Karen, it's looking out for your neighbors. There's a difference. Example would be like porch fires. Strong neighborhoods can help prevent that. Not completely eliminate it, but it can help. At least identify the person, what type of car they were in. Strong families are basically another slogan could be a glue of the community. They create trust, shared values, and when pushed into a neighborhood, it pushes that neighborhood to get that. So it beats back to something I was saying. A strong family creates a strong home. Strong homes create a strong neighborhood. Strong neighborhood creates a strong community. Strong community creates a strong city. A strong city creates a strong state. Strong states create a strong nation. And this is why our country is very weak right now. Because they are pushing the destruction of the family. and the knowledge is not being passed down as it should be passed down, the children are not gaining generational wisdom. So they do not repeat the past. The past is being repeated. For example, all children need to know that COVID was a scam. People need to know about the financial, when the economy goes bad, that's common. We had the Dust Bowl, we had the Great Depression, we had the crash of 1920, we had the housing market crash of 2008, which still affects us to this day. People just don't know it. People think, oh, my price went up. No, that was in my, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. My house price went up. No, that was inflation. For everything that you thought was for the people born around the 80s and the 70s, if you're thinking $100,000 is a lot of money, at times it by 4. It was good to make 6 figures then, but this is why people need to know this. They need to know you have the 4 times thing. You think you're spending, I spent $100 on groceries. It's more like $25. It's 4 times. You got a 4x, depending on what it is, certain things. But these things just need to be passed down. That bankers will do fraud, politicians will lie, but also good things. Relationship things, how to be in relationships important, how to be in a relationship, things like that will better society. Weak families shift power outward. Strong families keep decisions close at home. So weak families depend on government, strong families depend on themselves. And that's something that has helped America since the beginning of America. During the revolution from Britain, it's because people had strong homes that they were able to fight the British. It all started with that because there was a lot of militias. Militias was just regular people. When a family unit fractures, the responsibility it once handled, like childcare, elderly care, financial safety nets, moral guidelines, disappear. So currently people are turning to the government because that's the only one to help, and they really don't know what to do. Because that's a hard thing. Even with strong families, it's hard. Financially, it's hard. Strong families does not always mean financial, but you can, it makes it better and a little bit easier than it would be. Just adding to this, the strength of society begins at home. Weak families fuel cycle of poverty and dependency, incarceration. You could throw that in there. Strong families build resilient communities. Family stability promotes independence and freedom. And with slogan, the nation is only strong as its homes. But our government does not want that. They want you dependent on them. They want you looking to him. Donald Trump's going to be my savior. Oh no, the Democrats is going to be my savior. Nancy Pelosi is going to be my savior. Oh, this entertainer on TV, they're going to be my savior. No, it's you. But a person with low self-esteem is not going to believe that, and they're not going to see that. The biggest thing I would say, invest in family and not in government. Or I better say that, believe in family more than government. And family's not perfect. It's not perfect. And the reason, like, you might say, well, my family got issue, but you should be the person to build it with the next generation. If you came from a struggling family and you could research and find the root of the problem, because a lot of the problems go back to the 1940 generation. And because those cycles, some families are broken, but some haven't. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. But unfortunately, it's more profitable to have single moms because they're going to be the ones that are going to be running to the buy here, pay here, which people are getting the wealthy of. They're the ones that are constantly going to be renters instead of for owners. Less educated, even though those that are educated, they got the college degree, but they got the student loan that's they're gonna die with it, and people are getting wealthy on it. Sadly, right now, The few want to stay wealthy, and they found the way to do that is to destroy other people. So they're depending on them, and then they can remain rich. It's profitable to have weak families, in a nutshell. Thank you.